Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. Very happy Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, good morning.
Wait a second. My homeboy is my going homeboy again.
Oh, Stafford,
Wait a second. We've seen two straight Mahomes big games, a Super Bowl and a home championship game, and two straight stinkers. Your homeboy has been exposed.
You know what? That game reminds me of somebody else I knew that blew an 18-point championship game lead. I ain't gonna say nothing about that, but you know who it was, right?
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, you know.
No idea.
I don't know.
What about the Rams?
What about him?
Oh, the Ram ambassador told me to tell you.
Yeah.
I told you we going to the Super Bowl. That's what he told me to tell you. I was with him last night.
Well, you went to the game.
I went to the game.
With Eric Dickerson, our man Eric Dickerson.
It was 70% 49er fans.
Wow. The Ram ambassador, you and
Yeah, he
Shannon
told me,
hanging out.
make sure you tell Skip that. So,
I don't
Edie,
remember
we got
that.
it. Edie, we got him. We got him, Edie.
Oh, yeah. Let's see how much you got me right now.
We have so much to get to today. All the game action. My homeboy's going home. Tom Brady, what isn't happening? But let's begin with what we saw last night because the Rams are heading back to the Super Bowl after a 20-17 victory over the 49ers. Matthew Stafford found Cooper Kupp and OBJ early and often, and LA snapped a 6-game losing streak against San Francisco by picking off Jimmy G in the final minute of action. So, Shannon, what is the biggest reason the Rams finally beat the 49ers? They're heading to the Super Bowl.
Matthew Stafford. Everything came to crystal clear, came to fruition. Why they gave Jared Goff and 2 first-rounders for that guy.
Really?
In the fourth quarter, down by 10. Sean McVay had yet to win a game, trailing by 10 points heading into the fourth quarter. And Matthew Stafford, he had been great all year in the fourth quarter. 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Showed great poise. He was magnificent in the fourth quarter. 11 of 14, 121 yards, and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. He had thrown 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions all year in the fourth quarter. This is why you do it. And Cooper Kupp and OBJ. OBJ. You look good last night, didn't
You should sing Cooper.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's what you should be singing.
I could have swore I should have went that prop bet. I told you OBJ was going to get you a hundo. But Skip,
you did not predict 100 yards.
I did.
You did not.
Pull the tape.
It was 50.5?
No, I said he going way over there. I said I wouldn't be surprised if he got a hundo.
Oh, you said he wouldn't be surprised.
No. I said he's going way over that. I said he'll be over what he had last week against Tampa.
Okay.
Skip, they played a lot of man coverage.
A lot of man coverage. How about single man coverage?
Yeah, I told you that's what happened.
Yeah.
He exposed it. But anyway, Skip, I can't believe you. Of all people, you nicknamed the man Jimmy Gag.
Yeah.
And then you hit your wagon to Jimmy Gag.
Well, is it my turn?
No.
Okay.
Skip, here's the thing. You knew at some point in the game, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to give the opposing team an opportunity for an interception. You know he's going to give you one. You're just hoping if you're Kyle Shanahan, let him get that thing out the way early. Hopefully we can overcome it. The later in the game it comes, the more debilitating it is. And you knew it was like, damn, Jimmy G's protected the ball the whole game. What's going on? He due for one INT. Had turned the ball over at least once in 5 straight games. Sure enough, got a little pressure. But the Rams Skip, the offensive line for the 49ers did a great job on that front for the Rams the entire game. And then it was like something flipped in the fourth quarter. Because now all of a sudden, he had no time to throw the football. And the Rams were... I don't know if I've ever seen somebody have 18 third down attempts. They were 11 of 18 on third down. If you do that, eventually it's going to get the better of the opposing team. But I thought Matthew Stafford was great last night. He threw for 8 first downs on third down. It shows, Skip, he was the difference. He was the reason why some of the throws that he was making, Jared Goff just can't make those throws. Give those guys credit. They had lost 6 straight times to the 49ers. The 49ers were not in awe of them. They are not afraid of the Rams and all that glitz and glam, and all the stars were out last night, Skip. But the 49ers don't care anything about that. It took everything the Rams had Could have been a bigger night for Stafford. He had a drop by Cooper Kupp that was going to hit his head on the goalpost. I think his name's Slawonic. Dropped it. Skowronek. Dropped the touchdown pass in the end zone. But Matthew Stafford was the difference in the ball game, Skip. He had one mistake. He forced it on the opening drive, which he didn't have to do that because you're going to get 3 out of it. But outside of that, he was flawless. He was the reason why they won this game.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I got to get a new TV because I saw a completely different game than you're talking about. So, big picture, back to Jenny's question. Biggest reason that the Rams somehow survived this game after losing 6 straight to the 49ers was the number 50, which was the number of rush yards that Kyle Shanahan's rushing attack managed to muster against the Rams front. 50 yards rushing? Did Shannon Sharpe predict that? No, Shannon Sharpe would have predicted at least 100, if not 150, because that's who they are and that's what they do. And the reason I, quote unquote, hitched my wagon to Jimmy Gag was because I thought that the 49ers could keep the game out of Jimmy Gagg's hands. And unfortunately, the Rams forced the game in the fourth quarter right back into Jimmy Gagg's hands. And then what happened in the fourth quarter is exactly what happened when the 49ers made it to the Chiefs and the Super Bowl. Do you remember that fourth quarter? Because they were identical to me. Because in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, Jimmy Gag went 3 of 11 for 36 yards and an interception, right? Last night he went 3 of 9 for 30 yards and an interception. Does that ring a bell? Does that seem like deja vu to you?
You knew that.
Yeah. No, I did not know that because I said that Kyle Shanahan against the Rams can force the ball out of Jimmy Gagg's hands and into the running game's hand. And they tried and look at these numbers. Nobody could run the ball. Even Debo, that force of nature that is Debo Samuel. I tweeted last night mid-game that in just rage and physicality, just the way he attacks. He reminds me of the greatest player on the other side of the ball I ever saw, Lawrence Taylor. He's got some Lawrence Taylor in him where he just annihilates people. And I thought, well, I don't think they can handle him. Well, guess what they did? They handled him to the tune of 7 carries for a grand total of 26 yards. He got loose one time, as you know, for, 44 yards.
That was a screenplay.
It was a screenplay. Okay, it's just a little flip. And he made Jimmy Gag looked like Jimmy Good, didn't he? On that play. And Jimmy made a throw or two because he always makes a throw or two because he's been there and done that so many times. He's been on such big stages so often that he's about as experienced a lousy big game quarterback as you could get. And they believe in him, and I think they play hard for him. But in the end, this game fell back into the hands of one Matt Stafford, who, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is who I thought he was. He is exactly who I said he was. He will throw it to you when you most need him to throw it to you. And right away, it looked like the Rams are going to seize control of this game. And if we could see what happened down on the goal line, what was it? It was 3rd and goal at the 3. Here's kind of a Super Bowl Russell Wilson play. Remember against the Patriots? He forces it in. The ball gets tipped up. The throw was behind Cooper Kupp because he thinks he could just throw it anywhere to Cooper Kupp and he's going to catch it. And by the way, I thought Jimmy Ward was going to go all the way with this one and he just needed one more block. And it looked like he was off to the races about right in here. I just thought he needed one more block because I thought he could beat 79. But the point is, that was a huge play that made the 49ers think, wait a second, we got him right where we want him because he is the guy who will throw it to you. And I told you the amazing stat of the year was that after they acquired Odell over the last 8 games of the season, they played 9, they got Odell for 8. Matt Stafford led the league in interceptions over the last 8 games, and he threw 4 pick-sixes. He will just sort of, he'll go haywire on you and throw it to you.
He does sometimes. Skip, that was a 4 situation. You got 3 at worst case scenario, you got 3. The game flipped last night. What happened? He threw the ball down the middle of the field. And the guy...
Time out. It's my turn. I think I'm talking right now because I'm about to get to my main point when you say it's all about Matt Stafford. Baloney. It's about Matt Stafford. He did exactly what he always does.
In the fourth quarter.
Here we go. It is 9:55 of the fourth quarter. Can we see the throw down the middle to nobody, please? This is to nobody.
That was to Odell, right? You gonna blame Odell?
I don't know. I don't know who it is. It might be to Odell. It might be to Jefferson.
Mr. Van Jefferson.
I think he just threw it to whoever can go get this.
He dropped it.
And Jaquiski Tartt has been there for 5 years. He's been a nice player for them, quietly nice. Yeah. And all of a sudden, he's got the ball and the game and the Super Bowl right in his hands. Yeah. I don't know if he took his eye off the ball. I don't know if he closed his hands a little too quickly, but it hits into his fingers and off his fingers. I don't know if he's looking to run with it, because I think he could have run away with that one.
No, I think in a situation like that, you just catch it. Okay. You catch it and basically the game's over.
That is fine with me. And to Jaquiski's credit after the game, he took full credit for this. He took full blame. It's on me. I let my teammates down, but he did it in the interview and on Twitter. But he also said on Twitter, I will not let this define me as a human being, as a player or a person. Right. Good for him, because you can't take that with you throughout the offseason. You made a mistake. It cost your team. I think the game would have swung wildly back in your favor at that point.
I totally agree. But here's the thing, Skip. In order for this not to define him, what is he going to have to do? This team is going to have to get back to the Super Bowl. Because that Scott Norwood, does that kick not define him?
Yeah, I guess so.
He went to 3 more. They didn't win any. Let me ask you a question. Bill Buckner.
But that was more glaring, because Scott Norwood is like, end of game. This is it. Do or die.
Bill Buckner.
Oh, it's just horrendous. It's just horrendous. That's extra innings. That's do or die.
Raheem Moore did the exact same thing for the Broncos, Skip, when Joe Flacco hit the ball over his head. He was never the same player.
Yep.
You better get back. You better make a play that helps your team get over the hump. Or this is the play that the 49er fans and most people will remember you for. Yep. Skip, but here it is. You're right. I believe, and I told ED, the moment he dropped that, I said, Skip, I said, ED, the Rams are going to win this game. I said, he just gave them an opportunity. And what did they do? They went right back, boom, 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 down the field.
Okay, and to your point, guess who came? He went right back to Odell, who was single covered all night, who is wide open by 10 yards on the sideline. It's his longest cut.
Where they tried to trap him, Skip. They tried to trap one.
Okay, all right.
You see what he tried to do?
Yeah, and he is wide open against cover 2, it looks like to me.
It was.
And Jimmy Ward says, what's the book on Odell? What do you do to Odell?
You got to get physical with him.
You got to get physical, rough him up, and try to sort of knock him out of his comfort zone. And he goes and just blasts him helmet to helmet and gets 15 more. So it's 29 plus 15, and all of a sudden it's 1st and 10 down at the San Francisco 41. Because remember, they are operating from their 15-yard line on that. That was 1st and 10 for the 15 on the first throw that Tartt dropped. Again, so all of a sudden you go from you're locked up in jail at your 15 to you're at their 41, and they go right on down and get a 40-yard field goal, which, as you know, that made it that tied the game. Okay, there you go. So the whole game swung on that.
Yes.
So to me, Matt Stafford made a lot of good throws, but I got to tell you, you want to talk about a security blanket? Cooper Kupp is unbelievably good. I don't know how he does it, but he puts moves on people like I've never seen one guy put more moves on people. They just said, you can have Odell all you want. We are singling Odell barely, but we are going to try to take this other guy away from you.
Right.
And they would try it with 3. They would try it with 2. And he would beat triple coverage. I've never seen anything like it before.
A lot of times, Skip, they formation you. And they get you outflanked, because on the first touchdown, Skip, he ran a 7 route. He's outflanked the safety. So the safety's worried about, man, he might run. What if he runs the post? And once he nodded him to the post.
Are you talking about the touchdown?
The touchdown, right.
Yeah,
and
it was spectacular.
And on the second touchdown, Skip, I don't know what 24 is watching. Get your eyes out of the backfield. The guy that's most dangerous is number 10. Watch him. He's trying to play 2. He's trying to look at the quarterback and play Cooper Kupp.
Are they still underestimating him after he won the receiving triple crown?
Skip, you see what the man just put a $183, and he came back and got a $140 plus on
42. 142?
Ain't no
142? You're kidding.
You should not underestimate a man that almost had 2,000 yards receiving. At this point in time, you know he's the real deal, and you should treat him as such.
Okay, so they lost Tyler Higbee early, and we haven't heard the outcome of that. I don't know if he's going to be lost for the Super Bowl or not. But he's been a big weapon for them. So all of a sudden, Odell's star rose, because now if they're going to single you, we got to go to you more. What did Odell wind up with? 11 targets, but he caught 9 for 113. Way to go, Odell. I'm happy for Odell that he got to the Super Bowl. I am. I like him personally. I don't always trust him on the football field, but that's a big deal for him and Matt Stafford to get to a Super Bowl that they're going to get to play At home
At
in
home.
Hollywood?
Yeah,
What?
that seems like a recurring theme.
That's
Now,
a Hollywood
everybody
story.
thinking they can go to the Super Bowl. Hey, we won the Super Bowl because we got a chance to play a home Super Bowl, Skip. It started with the Bucs and now the Rams a year later. Nobody had ever done it, and now you get it in consecutive seasons.
Okay, so Sean McVay volunteered after the game, we would not be here without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Well, I just believe that because he's become an unguardable force.
Right.
So last night, he caught 6 balls on third downs.
Yes.
4 of them went for first downs, 2 of them went for touchdowns. That's unbelievably valuable. And if we could see those here in order, are the 6 third down catches by Cooper Kupp.
He was sensational.
Well, come on now. This is the first one. This is third down and long. And he hits it. How do you get open?
He runs. He's tremendous at running routes,
How do you get open?
Look at this.
It's just like candy from a baby. Thank you very much. Here's the next one. Third down. Oh, this is the sweet throw in the end zone you talked about. Okay, way to go. This is another third down. Here we go. Third down and touchdown. Like you said, what's 24 looking at? Okay, and then here we go with the little screen pass.
Jailbreak screen, yeah.
Can he run after catch?
Oh, he's tremendous run after catch.
I'd say.
He's tremendous run after catch. Look at this. Jimmy Ward holding on for dear life.
That was the game breaker because that one came, that was 3rd and 3 at the 37 on the final field, the winning field goal drive. That was with 3:26 left. Well, look at the run after catch. He's like cartoon feet. Right? They're just going. People can't stop him.
And it's chewing clock, Skip. But Sean McVay gets too cute. Skip.
He does.
Skip, it's 3rd and a half a yard. Why are you in shotgun? Okay, you got Sonny Michel. You motion him in the backfield. Then you motion Cooper Kupp out. And then all of a sudden you throw it. Bruh, just get up under the center line and just run the ball. Stop trying to get all cute and outthink everybody. At that point in the game, it's not about window dressing. It's about physicality. We line it up. We're going to get this first down. We're going to keep it moving. Why? Everything's got to be a showcase. Let me show you how smart I am. I'm going to start Sonny Michel out. I'm going to motion him back. I'm going to start the quarterback Stafford up under center. Then I'm going to motion him out. Then I'm going to motion him back. Then I'm going to put Cooper. Bro, stop. And there's another tail, Skip. Sean McVay, stop running the football every time you take OBJ out. It's a tail now. Every time you take OBJ out, I don't know if you noticed it, but I noticed it from sitting up in the suite. Every time OBJ goes out, you run the ball.
Okay, because they don't expect OBJ to block, and it's like, here we come. And he also, one other thing about Sean McVay, Coach McYay as I call him, he's cheerleading everywhere. He's more Hollywood than any of their stars to me. He has gone through the looking glass into Hollywood, and he has to be the center of attention. So anything that's close on the challenge, he's throwing his flag. And the use check thing, it wasn't a fumble.
You getting the ball back. Skip, I can see if they got the first down and you thought he challenged, like, I got to challenge that.
He didn't make it.
You gonna get the football. What are you challenging?
That it was a fumble, that you checked fumble before he got his elbow down, but he had his elbows down before.
They don't put dirt on the man's coffin. That man done been down there so long, they just say everybody leaving the services. Come on, Sean.
Okay, but they got away with it. And in the end, to me, they in the biggest picture, they got away with it because the front couldn't pressure Jimmy G until the bitter end. They finally started getting to him.
They dialed it up, yes.
Okay, they started getting to him. But just for the record, your man Aaron Donald had 3 assisted tackles. That's all he had.
Yes.
He had 2 hits on the quarterback, and they came in the fourth quarter. So I'm going to give you that you came alive. Your man Von Miller, acquired obviously from your Denver Broncos, last hurrah, rejuvenation in Hollywood, right? Okay, so he ends up with 2 tackles. He has 1 solo and 1 assisted. He has 1 tackle for loss and 1 hit on the quarterback. So those 2 game records didn't exactly wreck the game. Okay.
What did I tell you was going to happen, Skip? In order to stop the run, you can't get after the quarterback. You can't get after the quarterback.
But to their credit, they stopped Kyle Shanahan's vaunted rushing attack better than anybody I've ever seen, ever. Because Kyle and his father, for whom you play, they flat out know how to run the football because you have 2 Super Bowl rings. The first 2 are, thank you, they are compliments of Terrell Davis, right? Because he could run the football. And it was late career John Elway who needed some help. And he got the biggest help you could ever get because you were terrorizing people with the run, right?
And that was the thing, Skip, because here's the thing. We know that running game can beat us. We don't believe Jimmy Garoppolo can beat him.
Heck no.
So we're going to force the ball. We're gonna make him, instead of just turning the paper into the teacher, nah, bro, we're going to make you do some work. Well, they made him do some work come fourth quarter, and you said what happened. The same thing that happened in the Super Bowl. They made him do some work, and it didn't get done. He was 3 of 10 in one, 3 of 11 in the other.
Okay, and remember, in the second, the final 3 plays were just debacle plays for the 49ers, but in the previous series, they went 3 and out. And remember, he threw one, I think we have it.
Oh, Jay Ramsey.
He just hit him right in the hands.
He
dropped the route. He just hit him right in the hands, and I said, game over. No, he dropped it.
Yep.
And this is Jalen Ramsey, who's, does he have, he's like a wide receiver. Right. Here we go. I think this is to Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, this is going to be the one where he rolls and forces. Whoops. And Jalen Ramsey went over and slammed his helmet on the bench because you got to catch this one. And if you do catch it, it's game over.
It might get to the house. He might get to the house because he catches on the runs.
He's moving.
Yes, he's moving forward.
And he's just slapping his head because Jimmy G turned back into Jimmy Gag. Yes. Because if you get him to that moment, then that's it.
Yes.
And by the way, that's it for Jimmy Garoppolo as a 49er.
Yeah, the curtain slammed. The curtain's down.
The curtain just fell down. Yeah. It hit with a boom.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy, and they love to play for him. And they were way better this year than we all thought they would end up being.
Right.
But guess what? The Trey Lance era just started.
Yeah, Skip. He's a great guy. He says all the right things. He works hard.
Yep.
And you're right. Guys love playing for him, but he's average. He's only going to do so much. And if you put
what did you guess that Brady was referring to when he said, you're going to keep that
mofo?
Yeah, that MF, right?
Yes,
we're going to keep it.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's it.
And I think they wanted Trey Lance to play more, and then he hurt his thumb, and then he couldn't go, and then Jimmy started to heat up because he's capable of having a game here or a game there.
Skip, you can hide players, but only for so long.
Yep.
You can't hide them come playoff. And they did a great job because what were they able to do? They were able to run the ball against the Cowboys. They were able to run the ball against the Packers.
Were they?
And the quarterback had a minimal role.
Yep.
But the Rams...
And remember, special teams rose and shone at Green Bay in the cold. Okay.
Raheem Morris said, guys, look, I know we want to get after the quarterback, but the way we get after the quarterback is going to leave cracks. It's going to leave big cracks, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to take some of that pressure off. We're going to stop the run. 20 for 70 is stopping that run, considering we know how they can run the football.
No, 20 for 50.
My bad.
50.
20 for 50. That's really stopping the run.
Really stopping the run.
So that's 2.5 a carry.
Right.
You can live with that.
Who can you?
Now, fourth quarter, we know you're not going to run the football because time is of the essence. You got to throw it. Now we're finna come get you, and you'll give us one.
So remember, Jimmy Garoppolo had a 10-point lead going to the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl.
Correct.
He had a 10-point lead going to the fourth quarter last night. And what happened in the Super Bowl? He got outscored 21-0.
Yes.
And last night he got outscored 13-0. Okay, so he lost 2 fourth quarters of 2 huge games, 34-0.
Yes.
Okay? And he said after the game, I have no regrets about this season. And I'm thinking he doesn't because he thought I did the best I could do.
Right, that is.
But most quarterbacks would say, I stunk it up in the fourth quarter and I have a regret, but he didn't have any.
Well, Skip, he topped off.
He did.
I mean, this is how you...
He did it.
He did everything he possibly could. Whatever you thought Jimmy G could give you, he gave you that.
And obviously somebody someplace next year will probably say, I got to have that because this is all we got.
Yeah, considering the team that says that, Skip, he's better than what they have.
That is correct.
So, yes, he's going to get an opportunity and going to get big money. I don't know if he gets 40, 50.
No, but I
can see $20, $25 million a year.
I totally agree. But I want to talk about going home.
No, now you want to talk about Mahomes.
Going homeboy.
No mercy. For the first time since 1988, the Bengals punched their ticket to the Super Bowl after a 27-24 overtime victory versus the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 picks in the second half as Joe Burrow and Cincy erased a 21-3 deficit. It really was an incredible game. But Shannon, scale of 1 to 10, how shocking was KC's collapse here?
100.
100?
100. It's not a 10. It's not a 10 on the 10s. It's 100. Skip, they got it rolling. 3 touchdowns on their first 3 possessions. They get the ball. They're going back down the field on their 4th possession, and they have it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm feeling really good about my 42. At worst case scenario, I'm going to get 24 out of this, Skip, the way they rolling. Cincinnati hadn't even come close to stopping them. I'm feeling really good about myself. And it all flipped. And I tweeted this, Skip. I said, that was a mistake. You've got to get points out of that situation. You kick the field goal. Skip, there's only 5 seconds. 5. So when you snap the ball, 4, 3, if that ball is not in the end zone, and if it doesn't hit the dirt quick, you're gonna lose it. Tyreek played hero when he didn't need to be. One or two things need to happen. Either Mahomes throws that ball at his feet, or Tyreek, as soon as it touches his hand, he beelines out of bounds. He tried to spin back.
Or you just bat it down.
Right. But, Skip, you got to get, because 24-10 is better than 21-10 for the simple fact, Skip, the Bengals are saying, ooh, boy, that thing could have been bad. We could have been down 2 scores. Now we could have been down 2 full scores.
Yep.
Now they're like, hold on.
Several Bengals said after the game, we took the momentum to the locker room and we never stopped.
Yes. Okay. But another thing that I saw, Skip, is that the Chiefs made no adjustments to the Bengals adjustment. The first half, the Bengals played primarily zone coverage. Now, normally what would happen when we played Mike, Gary Kubiak, our offensive coordinator, this is what he would say, Skip. He says, this is what they're doing. In order for them to slow us down, this is what they're going to have to do. When they do this, this is what we're going to do. Here's the 8, 9, 10 pass plays. Here's the 4 or 5 runs. 84. Remember, it's going to take 2 to make you hot. TD's going to pick up 1. The second will come, you're hot. Rod, alert.
Yep.
That safety cheats one side to the other. We're putting it up to you. TD, we're going to need you to hug this before you bring it back. So we're going to make adjustment, knowing, Skip, you up 11 points, you up 14 points. They've got to do something because you're going up and down the field. Clearly, they can't keep playing zone coverage because you pick them apart. It seems to me, Kansas City says, okay, this is what we do. I don't care if you play zone, I don't care if you play run, if you play man. We do what we do. They made no adjustments. And as the Bengals started to get momentum, I felt that I started to see Mahomes start to tighten up. All of a sudden, he started getting out of character. Skip, and then in overtime, he hadn't thrown Marcus Robinson 1 pass the entire day. The first 2 passes goes to Marcus Robinson. Why?
And the second one to Marcus Robinson should have been pick 6 by Eli Apple.
He's saying it's a blitz.
Yeah.
You got to pull up. No, but you threw it behind him.
Yep. Threw it behind him, and Eli Apple. Whoops. That's game over right there.
That would have been game over.
Yep.
I'm Skip. In a way, a part of me is glad because everybody was talking about. So now, overtime is not determined by a coin flip. You see, you can play defense, can't you? You can, Skip. You see that?
But the stats were screaming no. And by the way, we always agree, call heads. Always call heads.
Damn.
So they called heads, and it was tails. And Kansas City won the toss, and I thought they won the game because how are you going to stop them at Arrowhead with Pat Mahomes, right?
Skip, I know you didn't see this, but Kansas City, when they won the coin toss, they say we won the coin toss. Cincinnati Bengals tweeted, you lost the game. Somebody been watching our show. Cincinnati, yes.
Okay.
I said, okay, Bengals, I see you.
Yeah.
But Skip, I'm beyond shocked. If somebody would have told me at home the Chiefs would jump out to a 21-3 lead and lose the game by only scoring 3 points in the second half, I said, man, get out of my face. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got Tyreek, Kelsey. The way they're going up and down the field, and you mean to tell me the Bengals are going to hold them to 3 points? Yep, that's exactly what they did. I'm beyond shocked. 80,000 fans in Kansas City are beyond shocked. I guarantee you to a man, they're beyond shocked. They're distraught. I don't really know what else to say. Give Cincinnati credit, but Andy, you've got to kick the field goal. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, Skip, but I heard somebody was telling me at the thing, they said, the reporter said Patrick Mahomes talked them into going for it, getting one more chance at it. With 5 seconds? What the hell do you think you're going to do? And you still had a chance to win the game because you was on, the 5-yard line with a minute plus to go in the game. And somehow you end up kicking a 42-yard field goal. So, but if you kick that 3, Skip, that 3-point field goal that you tied the game, that's to give you the lead. Now they need to come down with 30 seconds and get a field goal to tie you.
Okay, my turn. Back to Jenny's question, scale of 1 to 10, how shocked was I that Kansas City utterly collapsed from 21-3 up? Really, till late in the second quarter, they're up 21-3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only going to go to a 6 on the shock scale because I have been trying to tell you all year that Patrick Mahomes has been in a slump, or he's declined some, or however you want to describe what happened to him. All I know for sure is that Pro Football Focus, your Bible, your favorite website, graded Patrick Mahomes for the regular season the 13th best quarterback in pro football. That's not Mahomes boy. That's not transcendent. That's not off the charts. That's not next level. That's not in another universe from the rest of these young quarterbacks. So I'm thinking that it should be over at 21-3, but because it's Patrick Mahomes and because it's now 2021 going into 22, I still have this little voice in the back of my head, don't trust him, because he is like father, like son. He is a chip off Andy Reid's block. And what I don't love about Andy Reid manifested itself, reared its ugly head at the end of the first half.
Yes.
You want to talk about McVay getting too cute? This is all-time too cute. This is all-time flexing your genius, saying, look at me, world, watch what I do. How many trickish little plays have we seen down near the goal line by Andy bleeping Reid? How many times have we seen Kelsey take a direct snap, or they do the old Cowboys up and down motion before with the whole line before they go?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Blake Beldovers are in there. We've seen 1,000 different variations of trick plays at the goal line that Andy Reid can say, it's me. Okay, so I will give you this, that the game flipped on those two plays. And the one that shocked me first was Patrick Mahomes on the first down play with 13 seconds left, and the crowd's chanting 13 seconds because you know what he did to Buffalo with 13 seconds left. So can we see the first play? This is Mahomes. He rolls left and
it's sprint option.
Yeah.
Watch what the DBs do. They pass it off, Skip.
Okay.
It's done. You're done.
And he just throws it in the ground.
Yes.
And I'm a little surprised. He's thinking clocking ahead a little bit, but knowing him, the way he operates he's at his best outside the pocket on those sort of weird scramble plays because he has weird quickness. He's a big guy.
Right.
He kind of chugs when he gets downfield, but he has escapability.
Mm-hmm.
So usually, what did we see in the first half? He kept escaping and throwing touchdown passes. So I thought, he's outside the pocket. Here we go again. He's going to throw a touchdown pass. But the clock is going off inside his head, and he says, I better shut this one down. I better not wait until somebody comes open. I can't wait for somebody to uncover. I just got to throw it in the dirt. And all of a sudden I'm saying, now they're up against it. Now there's only 5 seconds left. What are they going to do? Well, obviously I'm thinking, you just take the 3 and you go up 14 and you're still just fine going to the locker room, right? You feel just fine about yourself. And instead, you've got a Patrick Mahomes who I think Andy has done a disservice to because he doesn't teach him the Joe Burrow textbook, this is how you play quarterback. Everything's Harlem Globetrotter. It's behind the back, between the legs, no look, left-handed. And he lets him get away with it because it polishes Andy's genius. That's what I've told you from the start. So Patrick Mahomes has the worst footwork of any quarterback I've ever seen this side of Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron has more arm talent to me than Patrick does. So Patrick's just kind of all over the map. And because he's been allowed to get away with these things before, he just panics at the last second on the 5-second play, if we could see that.
Looks fast,
and he doesn't know what to do. And in a blind panic, he throws it backward. That's a backward pass to Tyreek. And what's Tyreek going to do? Knock it down? No, because he's Tyreek Hill, and he'd had a huge half. What did he have? In the first half, he had 7 for 78 yards in the first half. Okay, now here we go again. And obviously, Eli Apple's there, and if Apple wasn't going to be there,
Hendrickson.
And it's going nowhere. You got no shot on this. And then Patrick's over there trying to call timeout.
You don't have any.
And plus, the clock's run out.
Right.
Okay, so you're cooked.
Right.
You just blew 7, if not 3. Right. Okay.
Give Cincinnati credit on the first one. Skip, it's called sprint it's called sprint left option. It's Q9. So what they did is that they passed it off.
I don't think they call it Q9, but go ahead.
No, the 49, that's what the Rams, that's what the Chiefs call it. That's the West Coast offense. It's sprint right option.
All right.
And so what they did is that they passed it off. So now I'm going to shove you, but I'm going to stay outside. Because if you go with the outside receiver inside, the inside slot receiver, he's going to run the flat route. He's going to be wide open.
Okay.
We passed it off. We take it away from him.
I got it. Huge defensive strategic change by Cincinnati in the second half.
Yes.
Guess what Patrick Mahomes was in the first half outside the numbers? Throws outside the numbers in the first half. He was 11 for 11.
Perfect,
and 7 of those went to Tyreek.
Right.
In the second half, they said, Patrick, we are taking Cheetah away.
Right.
It reminded me once upon a time of what happened 2 regular seasons ago at Tampa when Tyreek had like 1,000 yards receiving in the first quarter. Do you remember this?
Yeah, over 200.
And finally, Todd Bowles said, okay, that's enough of that.
Right.
And in the second half, they said, no more Tyreek. We're not going to single him, as you recall. They just singled him the whole first quarter.
Right.
What are you doing?
You're not singling him.
You can't do that. And finally, they said, okay, you can't have him. You can have Kelsey. You can have anybody else you want. And slowly but surely, Brady got them all the way back in the game that finally Patrick salted away by just holding on to the ball at the end of the game. And Brady never got the ball back. Okay. In the second half, guess what Tyreek was? He caught no balls.
On 2 targets?
2 targets. No balls on 2. Are you kidding me? So all of a sudden, you took that security blanket, even though Kelsey seems like the bigger, a more obvious security.
Right.
But listen, if Tyreek is cooking you, Patrick's like, I'll just throw it there. I'll throw it there.
he's gonna lift the coverage, and now that allows Kels to work one-on-one underneath.
That is correct.
And out, he got options. He can do whatever he likes.
Outside the numbers, Patrick Mahomes' second half was 1 for 8. 1 for 8? So I credit Cincy's defense. I told you Friday, they're just hot. I'm not saying they're great, although I think they're better than you think they are.
They are.
But they're hot. They're opportunistic. They just think they're going to make plays.
They got 2 edge guys that can go get your quarterback. Hendricks and the Hubbard.
They got 2.
They're relentless.
Okay. All right. So now we get to Patrick. To your point, and I appreciate your objectivity and honesty, as the game tightened up, his throat tightened up. And all of a sudden, he's coming unglued in ways that I've seen happen before. Even when my team went up there and it was 19-9, he was not lighting my team up.
Right.
It was nip-tuck, but my offense could not cash because my quarterback managed 3 field goals in 12 tries, right? Okay, so in this game, Mahomes is getting exposed the way I thought he got exposed in the Super Bowl. Because remember, in the Super Bowl last year, he was 26 of 49. That's way under 60%.
Yeah.
No touchdowns, 2 picks. And then yesterday he was 3 touchdowns in the first half when he was sensational, but 2 picks in the second half when he wasn't sensational. So in his last 2 big games, Super Bowl and championship game at home, he's 3 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Super Bowl QBR was 42 on a scale of 0 to 100. Yesterday was 41. But more incredible, yesterday's QBR was the all-time
It was great.
Yin yang.
96 in the first.
98.
Okay.
98 in the first half, and in the second half, his QBR was 1.4. Never in the history of QBR has there been that kind of a swing into the second half.
Skip, if you flip it, if he has the type of second half that he had in the first half, they win the game.
Oh, well, I'd say they win it going away.
And so that was the thing. You picked the wrong half to be bad. As good as he was in the first half, Skip, he was equally, if not worse, in the second half.
By the way, his numbers in the second half were 8 and overtime. 8 of 18 for a grand total of 55 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks.
Skip, but we saw this in week 17. We saw how great he was in the first half.
We did. And by the way, at Cincinnati, Cincinnati fell behind 14-0, and here they came.
But the thing is, Skip, when you play a team and they jump out on you and you track them down, if I ever play that team again, I feel I can do it again. It's like if I beat you at anything, if I beat you one time, I'm going to tell myself, I did it before, I can do it again.
Okay.
So Cincinnati, what did they do, Skip? They fall behind 21-3. They get a touchdown right before the half. KC in Cincinnati have a long opportunity. Tyreek drops it. So they go in. We got momentum. What happened? They go right back down the field on their 4th drive after they've scored on their first 3 at the 5-yard line. Get no points. Cincinnati, go into the locker room. We got momentum.
Here we go.
They're feeling good about themselves.
All right, so the opportunistic Cincinnati defense, which has been on fire for the last 6 games. All of a sudden, they turn the game around. This is 2:23 left in the third quarter, I believe, and it's the B.J. Hill interception that was just pure carelessness on Mahomes' part. And he said, my bad, after this one, if we could see B.J. Hill, he just throws it right to him, and he managed to hang on to it. Here we go. This is just carelessness, and he threw it, he tipped it right to himself.
But hold on. If he doesn't catch it, 91 drops right, he gonna pick it. He's trying to throw it to Marcus Robinson.
All right.
No, if we can go back to the front. Skip, if B.J. Hill doesn't pick this, he's gonna hit 90. He's gonna hit, Skip, look at Hendrickson.
Yep.
He's gonna hit Hendrickson in the chest.
Okay. All right. I got you. So all of a sudden, that turns the game around because they're about to go down and score. And if we could see what Joe Burrow then did on the fade, again, Kansas City is taking away Jamar Chase the whole game until this fade route. If we see the one to Jamar, this is the touchdown that made it. Well, this tied the game, right?
Yeah, they need the 2-point conversion. And then they go to 2-point conversion, and guess who they go? Who they pick on Skip at the 2-point conversion?
Yep. Guess who?
Man,
Sorensen. It's your favorite 49.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's to that little kid who just got activated from the practice squad.
Skip, can someone tell me what Sorensen's doing? Skip, they motion a little slot receiver over. He goes with him.
By the way, he's been on the practice squad all year. Go ahead.
Skip,
he
goes with him, and now he's just spinning. He's like a blind dog in a meat house.
Yep.
He knows there's meat out there. He can smell it, but he just can't see it.
Okay. Now, if we could see what Joe Burrow did with his legs. These were two huge plays in this game. We have a 3rd and 6 at the 24, and then we have a 3rd and 7 at the 34. If we could see these back-to-back runs by Joe Burrow, these are game-changing runs.
Chris Jones got him.
Got him, don't got him.
Don't got him.
Don't got him again, and he manages to get to the stick and stick the ball past it. That's a game saver right there.
That's it.
Okay? Because that's 11:45 in the fourth quarter, and then there's the first one. Here's the second one. This is a longer run where he just bolts right up the middle and takes off, and he gets face masked right here. It was Sorensen. Sorensen grabbed his face mask, and they didn't call it. That would have been 15 more if you can see it from this side. Can't see it.
Yeah.
But the point is, those got them out of that hole, and they're on the march, and they go all the way down and kick the go-ahead field goal, okay? So then Mahomes gets away with this play. You brought up Sam Hubbard, who played a sensational game. He's a former third-round pick out of the Ohio State. And if we could see the 3rd and goal play at the 9, well, Hubbard's just spying him, and all of a sudden Hubbard just says, okay, I'll just go. I'll attack. And he attacks him right up the middle and knocks the ball out of his hand. And Joe Tooney is there, Johnny on the spot, to save the game. The game's almost done right there, right? So Mahomes got away with this one. And they got to overtime, and then they win the coin toss. And to your point, we already showed it, but Eli Apple's got the game in his hands. And then the last throw is he forces one to Tyreek, and he's doubled. He's back and fronted, high load. And if we could see the last interception, and Jesse Bates just sticks his hand in and tips the ball back to Von Bell. Good play, nice play, forced throw.
They're like, we're not gonna let Tyreek beat us.
Nope. He just got his hand right in the middle of it and said, that's it.
You got it 1st and goal at the 5 with 1:30 to go. And somehow you end up kicking a 42-yard field goal. You got to win the game there. That's the game.
You had it.
That's the game right there.
I agree.
But, you know, you all that cute stuff, power the football in, Skip. Just power the football in. Give the ball to McKinnon.
You like McKinnon because he's giving him a little voltage.
Yes. But somehow they wanted to put Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Skip, he runs the ball with both hands because once he fumbled in Baltimore, he hasn't been the same. If you look at him, he carries the ball like this. It's not, you got, and I agree. I love McKinnon because he can block, he can catch, he can run. Go Jumbo personnel says we're going to run this ball 3 times. We're going to get this ball in the end zone. Okay.
Last quick point. After the game, Andy Reid took full blame for the 2 plays at the end of the first half that switched momentum. And can we hear that soundbite, please? Because I have a different view maybe than you do.
I was hoping we could get the ball in the end zone. I probably gave him the wrong play, first of all. So to start with, I could have given him something better than that, where the play was open in the end zone. And then we wouldn't have to go through that. But it's I'll take responsibility for that one out.
Okay. He said, I probably gave him the wrong play. Again, appreciate you taking the thrust of this. But remember, Eric Bieniemy's still out there trying to get a job, and Andy was trying to sell all week last week.
Oh, he ain't getting no job after this one.
Okay, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
21-3, you ain't getting no job. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, I got it. But remember, Andy was trying to sell all last week. He calls all the plays.
Right.
Again, maybe I'll make a suggestion. Well, that suggests that he was making more than a suggestion. I didn't give him the right play.
Right.
And then he had one line in there. There's a guy open in the end zone, so he kind of took some blame, but then he put some on Patrick.
Yeah, but the guy that he was talking about that was open, Skip, you're trying, there's too many hands, because you try to throw that ball's going to get caromed up in the air. Mm-hmm. So I saw what he saw, but I don't think Mahomes is going to throw that. How about this, Skip? How about just line up and kick the field goal with 5 seconds?
How about it?
How about that? Then you don't have to worry about giving him a play.
There's nothing cute about that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's Skip. 3 points is okay. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the best plays are the ones that you don't make.
Yep.
And that you don't even have to call a play, Andy. That's out of your hand. Hey, field goal. We up. Boop. Going into the half, Skip, it's 24-10. And you get the ball coming out of the second half. But Skip, I could tell that first drive. If you look at it, Skip, the catches that guys were making in the first half, all of a sudden those contested catches they weren't making in the second half. They were not.
They were getting a little tight.
Yeah, you saw that too. Okay. I just making sure I wasn't the only one. Okay.
Boy, oh boy. I still can't believe it. I cannot believe it. But, Mahomes will be back. We know that right now, guys. And the Bengals will move on to face the Rams for a chance to win the Lombardi in 2 weeks. And the matchup will feature the lowest seeded Super Bowl ever. Fox Bet Sportsbook has LA as an early favorite, as the Rams will host the showdown in their home stadium. Back-to-back home stadiums. How about that? Shannon, what is your early prediction on the Super Bowl? I know we got some time, but I want to hear what you're feeling right now. I'm
liking the Rams. There is some familiarity, Skip. Zach was the receivers coach and the quarterback coach under Sean McVay, so they kind of know each other. Both of these guys are ultra aggressive. Mm-hmm. I think Taylor is probably a little more of an analytics. He's more of a guy that's going to go more for it on fourth down. Would I be surprised if it's fourth and close? He might go for it 4 or 5 times in a Super Bowl game. You leave nothing to chance. You throw everything out there and see what happens. But I love the way Matthew Stafford is playing. I love the way he's playing. I love Odell. I love Cooper Kupp. And the thing is, Skip, here's the thing. You have a defensive front that can get after you like Tennessee, but you have an offense that's much better than Tennessee. So that's why I'm leaning right now. But as Andy said, the Cincinnati Bengals are not to be slighted. They're not to be taken for granted. They are legit. When you get a team that gets this far, I don't care what seed they were to get there. They believe they belong there. And once you get a team that believes they belong, Skip, they play with ultra confidence now. Yep. And that kid, that number 9, he swagged out. I mean, you might not, hey, we've never seen a quarterback like him. He wears it. I mean, hey, yeah, I'm cool. I'm Joey B.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I got the diamond glasses. I got the diamond chain. Yeah, it's real. I make too much money to be fronting. I love everything about this kid. He is poised. He's beyond his year. You know what, Skip? Now that you think about it, he plays like a 25-year-old quarterback. He doesn't play like a second-year quarterback because he's not your typical second-year quarterback. The typical second-year quarterback in the NFL today is normally 21, 22. He's 3 years older than that. So he redshirted, stayed an extra year.
He did.
And so it shows. But I'm leaning towards the Rams, but I'm not selling Cincinnati short. I think it's going to be a better game than people think. The home field advantage is not what you would think it would be for the Rams. Because in the Super Bowl, Skip, hell, half the fans going to be on one side, half the fans going to be on the other, and another 15,000 going to be too drunk to give a damn who wins. So, yeah, I'm at home. I'm comfortable. I sleep in my bed.
Yep.
But it's not the advantage if it was a regular season home game.
So your Los Angeles Rams are 4-point favorites at home in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Some have it at 3.5. It's not a staggering disparity between the two teams, say the odds makers.
Considering Kansas City was a 7-point favorite at home.
That is correct. Something is going on with the Cincinnati Bengals.
You might be right.
Something pretty special, because not only has the defense caught fire, but it's caught fire around a still young quarterback, older in years but young in experience. In his first full year of starting in this league, This team has gone from 2 wins, which allowed them to get Joe Burrow, to 4 wins his first year when he had his ACL torn, to 10 wins this year, but caught fire late, won the division late, and all of a sudden won a home playoff game, first playoff win in 31 years. Then this team went to the 1 seed and beat an extremely well-coached, extremely physical team in Nashville.
Yes.
Then this team went to the 2 seed at Arrowhead, where nobody gave them much of a shot.
Nope.
And came back from 21-3 down because the quarterbacks got that swagger, because they look down the bench and say, we still got Joe.
Yeah.
So, and Joe is Joe Cool to them.
They take it away and they don't give it away.
They don't give it away. And he is operating at a very high level. And we're going to hit this head on a little bit later. But I told you Friday, to my eye, if in fact Tom Brady is gone, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes.
Okay.
This is the closest thing I see to Brady, and I'm talking about in poise, in readability, in accuracy, in just overall command of the offense. You can just speed read it and find the open man and hit him right in the hands with the football, under pressure, under fire. But he's different than Brady. He will take sacks, although he didn't yesterday.
Right.
That wasn't the fact. He took 9 sacks at Tennessee, and his coordinator said what we love about him is he does not mind the physicality.
Right.
He got sacked 9 times at Tennessee and spit the bit no times.
Right.
Not one time was he
The ball come
strip
out.
sacked. Not one time.
Right.
And yesterday he did throw a fairly late, early fourth quarter interception.
That might have been the worst play that he had all playoff long. He had no business throwing that ball.
And I thought it was a little bit of a tug by Snead, just a little tug. But I'm not upset with that. But again, it was a little underthrown. It's a little bit of impatience because they're not giving you Jamar, and all of a sudden they gave you single coverage on Jamar, and he said, I got to get the ball outside to him. And he was slightly late and slightly short with it, and it got picked.
Right.
It did not crush them. It wasn't a game-losing type play.
No.
So now I look at this defense, and when I look at what this defense did in the second half to Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead, and I start saying, who are these guys? Well, I look at the tackles yesterday. I sort of go right down the list. Logan Wilson was their leading tackler yesterday with 10 tackles. He was a third-round pick in 2020. And then Sam Hubbard, you mentioned he was spying on Mahomes at the end and strip-sacked him, looked like the game might be over. He was a third-rounder out of the Ohio State in 2018. Trey Hendrickson, we know he was a stud Saint, right?
Yes.
Well, he was once upon a time a third-rounder back in 2017. Awuzie was my Cowboys, so he's one of the starting corners. He was a second-rounder in 2017. Eli Apple was the 10th pick in the draft, a first-rounder in 2016. B.J. Hill, who tipped the interception to himself. He was a third rounder in 2018. Then we go down to Jesse Bates, who tipped the ball away from Tyreek at the end for the interception to Von Bell. He was a second rounder in 2018. And then Jermaine Pratt, the other linebacker, was really good yesterday. He's a third rounder in 2019, and Von Bell was a second rounder in 2016. My point is they're loaded with fairly high picks. These are a bunch of seconds and thirds who were really good, and they got them all. Right. And they're coming of age right before your very eyes.
Skip, they don't have a name. They don't have a Micah Parsons.
No.
They don't have a one of these elite, a Buda Baker at safety.
No.
They don't have a Jalen Ramsey or elite corners. But as you mentioned, you named 7, 8 guys that are third round or higher. So there's only 11 guys. So it's not like they play with some undrafted free agents, some street free agents, Skip. They're legit.
They're legit.
Right.
That's the point. His security blanket had been his tight end, Uzama, and he got hurt early and caught no balls. Right. And that was the other amazing thing about yesterday is he didn't even have his tight end and pulled that off. Right. And instead, he had to go to
T. Higgins.
Higgins, right. And he started catching. How many balls did he catch? He was pretty good, right? Let's see.
He caught 6 for a $103.
103. So he said, okay, I'll go to him because he's tall. And
he dropped the touchdown early.
He did. I got it. There was one play early where I thought he was interfered with, where he got his hand pulled behind him. But the point is that Uzama is saying he's got a sprained MCL but hopes to be able to play. Right. Well, we don't know what Tyler Higbee's status is going to be because nobody's reported on it, but his looked just as bad, if not worse, some kind of knee injury, but we don't know that.
Bland came in and did a great job.
I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, Skip, I've never seen, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I've never seen a flea flicker screen to the tight end.
No.
Normally when you
I don't think he was primary on the play, but it worked.
I think normally when you flea flicker, Skip, you try to throw the ball over somebody's head. They flea flickered and threw the ball to the tight end. It just shows how desperate they were, Skip.
Okay.
But when I go back to, you mentioned, Cincinnati, you just think of the Bengals and the same old Bengals. But when you look at Joe Burrow, number 1 overall pick, Jamar Chase is a top 5 pick, T. Higgins is a second-round pick, Boyd is a tremendous talent, and then you named all the talent. So they got a bunch of, they've been bad for so long. Joe Mixon is a second-round pick.
Yep.
P. Ryan, the guy that scored, caught the 41-yard touchdown on the screen.
Oklahoma guys, yep.
Skip. So when you're bad for as long as Cincinnati's been bad, you get an opportunity to get a lot of high draft picks. And even in the second round, you're picking in 35, 36. Third round, you're picking in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you said. They got talent.
They got talent.
You get and they're getting an opportunity for it to show.
Yep.
It took a little, but all that's fine and good. They had a lot of those guys like that guy that's sitting on that guy's shoulder.
He's a difference maker.
If you have one of those, nothing else matters, Skip.
If Marvin Lewis had that guy,
he'd still be the coach.
Would he?
He'd still be the coach.
He might have a couple of rings.
There's why you move heaven and earth to try to get him. Okay, what? Man, you ain't got no first-round draft picks till 2025. I don't care. I ain't worried about 2025. I'm worried about 2021, 22, and 23.
So I'm going to give you this. After last night, the Rams are ranked first in the NFL in pass block win rate, in pass rush win rate, and they're number 1 in run stop win rate.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're dominating in both trenches.
Right.
Both lines of scrimmage they're just dominating.
Right.
But that kid, there's something about him where he's Brady with more outward swagger, because Brady had inward swagger.
Yeah.
Brady had behind closed doors swagger.
Skip, you see him come, he got his Tom Ford on, he's wearing his suit, he's really buttoned up, he got his sunglasses on. No, I'm talking about Tom.
Oh, Tom. Tom's buttoned up. Yeah.
You know, he buttoned up, he got his Tom Ford suit, so he got his little sunglasses on. They ain't got no diamonds on him.
No.
He ain't got no diamond chain on. He got a little bag. Dude coming there, he got his little, his little collar shirt on. He got his jacket on, little hood with the hood on the back. He got his diamond.
Yeah, Joe Cool.
Joey B.
Okay, Brady never smoked cigars in victory, but this guy will smoke cigars in victory. And LeBron even tweeted about it and showed a picture of him after the championship game in college.
When they showed him, because he's from Ohio, he got a LeBron jersey looking in the mirror. So, you know what I'm saying? So, what's not to like about it? And when you got, Skip, there's one thing. When you got that guy, and I played with a guy like that, John Elway, for 7 years, we got him. Y'all know. I don't care if y'all up by 10. I don't care if y'all up by 14. Let it be close to the fourth quarter and watch what we do to you.
Yep.
That's him.
That's that guy.
Let's keep it close. Give us a chance.
Hey, for 2 4 seeds meeting in the Super Bowl, lowest seeds ever, I'm all in, man.
Hey, they're going to have to do a lot better job protecting, because Rams, now, this is a situation, Skip. They ain't trying to stop the run.
No.
They're going to hunt quarterbacks.
Yep.
Vaughn and Floyd and Aaron Donald, they're going to get the quarterback.
I'll take that kid.
But he ain't going to be deterred now. You can't rattle him.
He is a kid, and that's what's crazy to think about. Like that photo, Shannon, that you referenced, it's not that long ago. No mercy. A surprising news broke the internet this weekend regarding Tom Brady. After playing for 22 years and winning 7 titles, the GOAT is reportedly riding off into the sunset, into retirement. However, some in TB12's camp have pushed back on this, including Bruce Arians, Brady's agent Don Yee, and even Brady's own dad, Tom Sr. So, Shannon, are you convinced that he is retiring?
Yes, but I'm disappointed somebody in Tom's inner circle did this to him. They leaked this information to Adam Schefter or Jeff Darlington, or one or both, and he wanted to control this narrative. He's owed that. Tom Brady should be the one that stepped to the podium and have that opportunity, like so many other greats have, Skip, to say, you know what? It's been a great run, but today I'm no longer a quarterback in the National Football League. He's owed that. For you to be in that man's circle, clearly, you're not all of a sudden get there after a year or two. This is somebody that's been in Tom Brady's inner circle for better parts of a decade or decades, and you did this to this man. Skip, you know how quarterbacks are. They love to control the narrative. That's why they don't say anything. They don't never say anything that's going to bring them criticism, because they like to be in control of a situation. Now he's no longer in control of the situation. You know, Don Yee said, I'm not going to get into the accuracy or inaccuracies. There are no inaccuracies. Tom's going to retire. But he was owed the opportunity to step to the podium and says, I'm going to retire. And not have somebody leak it and then, because Skip, you know how this works, Skip. You got to be first. You got to be first. I'm reporting, it's been reported that Tom Brady's going to retire. You got to be the first with that story. But I just hate it for Tom. Tom has been too great for too long to now he has to play catch up. I just hate it, Skip. I believe it is. I believe Tom Brady, and I said, Skip, when I heard him say he was satisfied with how, and I said, Skip, I never heard him use the word satisfied. Satisfied and Tom Brady doesn't go together. It's oxymoronic, like jumbo shrimp, quiet riot. Satisfied and Tom Brady does not go together. He has an unquenchable thirst, desire for wins, for competition. When you say you're satisfied, you say, I no longer desire those things. Skip, I believe Tom Brady's going to announce that retirement in the coming days. I hate the fact that now he's going to it's not a surprise that he gets to do it on his own terms. I hate that for Tom. Tom, bro, I am so sorry that somebody betrayed your trust.
So you're now 100% sure he's going to retire?
Yeah.
100% sure, says Shannon Sharpe. Okay. Me being the biggest Brady supporter, certainly on this show, if not everywhere, I'm now not 100% sure he's going to retire, and I'll tell you why. The ESPN story, which I do not doubt, I'm not taking any exception to it. I have no idea who the sources were, where it came from. It could come from the Bucs organization. It could come from Inner Circle. It could come from anywhere. It could come from New England sources, for all I know. I don't know, don't care. But the report said he's planning to retire. The headline and then the reaction on Saturday afternoon was explosive. It was nuclear because it's like, that's it, he's retiring. Almost as if Tom himself had made the announcement when in fact this did not come from Tom. And subsequently, Don Yee issued his statement, his longtime agent. To your point, the father did, Bruce Arians did. We have not heard anything from Tom about this. And all I told you was that a high-placed source told me that the Bucs, this is a week ago, it was actually on Tuesday that I told you this, that the Bucs would be pleasantly surprised if he did come back because they thought he was leaning in that direction, but he had not said a word to them. So they were having to start to plan on a future without Tom just in case he did not come back. I'm here to tell you, knowing Brady the way I know him, that I heard last night from several sources from that inner circle who said he and they are outraged over this just the way you said they should be outraged. Because they wanted to make the announcement when they wanted to make the announcement because he's earned the right, I think, after all these years and all those Super Bowls and all those wins. He has earned the right to say, yes, this is it for me, but he wanted to, they went out of the country, that he wanted to take some time to let it sink in. So knowing him the way I know him, he is so competitive, he is so against the grain that if you call his hand on him the way ESPN did and say, this is it, you're retired, and it comes across, even though the phrase was planning to retire, that it's possible the door just got cracked about that far open, where Tom Brady would come back from his trip, let the dust settle in his head and say, I'll show them, because he's been showing people since he was a 6th-round draft pick, right?
But Skip, here's the thing. You and I both believe that Tom can still play. The issue will still be at hand. Whether the reason why he was deciding to step away or planning was family. Him coming back doesn't do that family. That dynamic hasn't changed, has it?
Although some people are now saying, who know and have covered Brady very closely, that family isn't the deciding factor, that he was just ready to segue into his second career because he's got 1,000 things at his fingertips, like TB12, his clothing line, and all the things that are going on.
Can I ask you a question? If he segued a year from now, 2 years from now.
It wouldn't matter.
Exactly.
Wouldn't matter. And Tom himself has said publicly that he believes he will need some form of counseling to segue into his second career.
No question.
Hey, Pro Football Focus graded him the #1 quarterback in pro football this regular season. They said he far and away was the MVP. Obviously, he brought his team back against the Rams now in the Super Bowl. He brought them all the way back from 24 down, 27-3 down to 27 all by throwing for 125 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Hit Mike Evans with that dime up the right sideline. Okay, so he's got to be thinking, well, wait a second. Remember his line, it's going to be hard on me if I sit watching television and I say, well, I'm better than him, and I'm better than him, I'm still better than him, and him, and him.
Skip.
Well, you don't think if he watched yesterday, he wouldn't say, I'm better than those guys?
I promise you. Troy Aikman hadn't played in 25 years.
Well, maybe.
He thinks he's better than some of the quarterbacks. Skip, that's just the way. And Tom,
but I think Tom still thinks he's better than anybody.
Skip, 10 years from now, Tom Brady still believes that he's better than some of the quarterbacks.
Now I'm going to throw one last scenario at you. And I mentioned this last week, but it hadn't come to fruition yet because I did not know the fate of the 49ers.
Right.
Obviously, Tom Brady grew up in San Mateo, California, stone's throw up the 101 freeway from Candlestick Park, a huge 49er/Joe Montana fan.
Right.
That's in his blood. That's in his heart. And so right now that the 49ers lost to the Rams, which I did not think they would do, but now that clarified itself, now that Jimmy G is not going to another Super Bowl with the 49ers, now that it's clear the Jimmy G era just fell flat on his face as the curtain hit him right between the eyes, is it possible that Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch would put in a call to Tom Brady just to test the water and say, would you like to come back here for a year, maybe even 2 years? Who knows? Whatever it would end up being. We've got Trey Lance, but he's a young quarterback who didn't play college football at the highest level, got hurt this year. We could go Aaron Rodgers here. It took Aaron 3 years, obviously, before he was finally given the right to replace Brett Favre, right? So do you want to come home? Maybe it's the last hurrah, maybe it's not. Let's see what we got, because is that team not still on the verge of being really good?
Well, yeah, they still got Kittle, they got Debo, they got Ayuk. They loaded. Running back, they can run a solid offensive line. Defense is, they're really good.
They're really good. They're about as good to me on paper as the Bucs were 2 years ago when he said, I'll try that.
Yeah.
Except they have more of a winning tradition, obviously, than the Bucs.
What if Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to San Francisco?
Okay, well, he might. I don't know. But now all the signs point to Denver, which is what you want.
Right. But Skip, for me, I just believe Brady wanted to be the one. To be dressed,
sure.
have the kids up on the podium, have the wife, mom and dad, sister, probably everybody there, Skip, and do that. But I just don't understand. Everybody, if you in a guy's inner circle like Tom, Tom trusts you to the umpteenth.
Yeah, I don't know for sure it came from somebody very close to him. I don't know.
But here's the thing: if I'm in a situation like this, Skip, two people gonna know, me and God. Babe.
Maybe she would know, right?
Babe, I heard what you said. I'm going to make a decision, but trust me, I've taken into account everything you said over the last decade. I understand that the kids are getting older. I'm starting to miss things that I need to be there for. I'm giving everybody kids advice how to play quarterback. I ain't giving my kid nothing because I ain't there.
That's true.
So I get it. But Skip, I just can't. That man too good. I mean, Brady, he deserved that. 22 years, and y'all can't give him that. Y'all can't give him that courtesy. Say, you know what, man? I got some information, boy. I just want to share it with somebody. Can't do it.
Okay. So as devastated as I was on Saturday, as the chips started to fall the rest of the day, and people dug in, such as Arian's father, I started to get a little hopeful, and it's long shot hope probably, because you're probably leaning in the right direction that he left the country right after the loss, thinking, I probably should call it a day now, but he might return to all this fallout and say, you know what, I'm just going to show them again. We'll see what happens. We'll watch this, right? Hey, now backtrack. I am playing. Now you got to retract everything that you said.
Now
what are you going to do?
He might, but I just think,
Because health-wise, is he okay? I think he's
as far as I know, good. I mean, I haven't heard anything. I mean, Skip, they've been reporting saying, his family and health. What health? I mean, he got normal bumps and bruises that first of all, we've never seen a quarterback 44 years of old play. But I think he just has normal bumps and bruises that a quarterback would play, having played 18, 19 games.
So you give him a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and all of a sudden he's going to say, I'm feeling pretty good here.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, here we go.
No mercy.
And guys, Odell Beckham Jr. is set for his first career Super Bowl after the Rams knocked off the 49ers 20-17 yesterday. OBJ caught 9 balls for 113 yards, finishing only behind Cooper Kupp in terms of targets, catches, and yardage. So Shannon, scale a 1 to 10. How impressive was Odell?
You know what, Skip? I want to say 10, but I'm not impressed, because this is what I expected of him. And I told you, if they gave him opportunities, this is what he's... I say, Skip, give him 11 targets. Give him 12 targets like they give Cooper Kupp and watch him do work. I say, now, if they single him, I say, they're going to single him because they're going to try to take Cooper Kupp away. You say, you mean to tell me you got that much confidence? Odell was the number 1 receiver for a number of years. You mean to tell me you believe your third corner can handle Odell Beckham Jr. one-on-one? You got that confidence, that much confidence in your secondary? Because I do not. It's taking some time for Sean McVay to figure out how to use Odell, because his offense are predicated in throwing the ball in between the numbers. Odell, if you look at Odell lines up exclusively, mainly outside the numbers. He does a great job of high pointing the ball. He does a great job of running stop, fade, stop, the stop route, and doing the over. So Sean McVay has taken some time to come up with the schematically, because his scheme doesn't really fit what Odell does really well. But it's taken some time for him to work Odell into that scheme. Giving him opportunities, and you see what he can do. This is why people were saying Odell is going to have a big payday, because what he's showing with the Rams is that he still has juice. The difference between here and Cleveland, he has somebody that can get him the ball. See, Matthew Stafford ain't out here doing commercials. You know, one guy doing progressive commercials. One guy want to do it all.
Nobody wants Matt Stafford.
I think it's my turn. I think it's my turn to talk. I think I have the floor.
You've been talking now for like 17 minutes.
Skip, I'm not surprised Odell did this. He's just getting opportunities, and when a guy gets the opportunity, he's healthy. He's showing you what he can do. And so I'm not surprised. And guess what? If they single him, he'll have another big day like this in the Super Bowl. Single him if you want to. Single him if you want to now.
So your impressive scale is a 5?
I'm going to give him a 0. I ain't impressed.
A 0?
No, because I expected...
Shannon Sharpe said scale of 1 to 10, he's a 0 impressive.
Because you know why? Because I expected this. This is what I expect from OBJ.
Okay.
You're surprised by this. I'm not surprised, because I told you what was going to happen if they gave him the opportunity.
I am not at all surprised. I was going to give him a 5, and I thought you'd scream and yell at me and beat to your side of the table, because it's what he should do. He's Odell Beckham Jr. He's not what he was in his first 3 years with the Giants, because 3 surgeries in 4 years cost him a little bit of quickness and a little bit of explosiveness. He's not quite what he used to be. But it wasn't Baker Mayfield's fault. He just didn't like it in Cleveland. He didn't want to go to Cleveland. And now he's in Valhalla. I've gone to Hollywood, and he said after the game, this organization does it right. Everything they do is right. Okay, what they did right last night was, what happened on the very first offensive snap of the game? Can you remember?
What happened?
You were probably caught up eating some food up in the suite or something, right? You weren't quite ready. Well, you were caught up in traffic. First play of the game, Matt Stafford just rose up and fired it into the flat to Odell Beckham Jr. because McVay gets it. You've got to feed him the rock.
Early,
Just get him. Just let him touch it. And he caught it, and he ran for a grand total of 3 yards.
That's it.
And that's all you need, because now you've got him like, okay,
you got him locked in to go give me the rock.
Yeah, okay, I'm good. Oh, you featured me on the first play. It didn't really matter. It didn't go anywhere.
You just wanted to touch the ball.
Just touch the ball, because you got to keep him right mentally. You got to keep him balanced where he feels like, I am really a legit part of what you're doing.
Right.
Okay, I told you on Friday, it is astounding to me that the over-under on his receiving yards, even for this game, it's been creeping up, but that it crept all the way up to 50.5 yards. 50.5. Cooper Kupp's over-under going into this game was 105.5. More than twice as many yards, says the odds makers, than Odell Beckham Jr. And he still puts on the show of shows in the pregame, because he is liable in the pregame to catch it every way you can catch it. He might catch it with his pinky finger, right? Like on the tip of the football, on the nose of the football, he'll catch it with his pinky finger. He can put on a Globetrotter-esque show in the pregame. that doesn't always or even often manifest itself in the real game.
Right.
But last night, to your point, they just dared him. They said, throw it to him. What number is he where I get lost? Three? Is he three now?
Yeah.
Okay, he's no third.
Got to get back to his college number.
All right. Throw it to three. Just we dare you to throw it to three. And he's wide open half the time. And to his credit, he caught him. There was the second pass thrown to him was wild, way behind him, and he couldn't hang on to that one. And I said on Twitter, was his father going to post that one on Matt Stafford? Because it was Matt Stafford's fault, right? But for the most part, they went to him, and he wound up with 113 yards. But not what I would call impactful yards. It's like they didn't seem to change the game.
They first downs.
Okay, but Cooper Kupp's were. I just showed you early in the show. He caught 6 balls on third down that either went for a first or a touchdown.
But here, this is what you did. Now you changed it. At first, he wasn't doing anything. He's doing 36 yards. He's averaging 3 catches for 36 yards.
38.
Okay, 38 yards.
38.
Okay.
That was through his 8 games in the regular season. He averaged 3.4 catches for 38 yards. Well, that's just pedestrian.
Okay.
That's not Odell.
But what did I tell you? I say, well, Skip, give him some of the opportunity that you give Kupp.
Okay.
Give him 11. Give him 12
I'm going to
targets.
ask you again what I asked you Friday.
Right.
Is he even in the ballpark with Cooper Kupp?
Who is?
I'm asking you.
Who is?
You're the Hall of Fame.
Who is?
Okay, what's
Who's
your
in the
answer?
ballpark with Cooper Kupp?
Well, I can start. I think Debo is. That's just me.
No, Debo ain't got, hold on. This man got more receiving yards in a single season than anybody.
Okay.
Jerry Rice, name a receiver. None of them have gone over 2,000 yards. This man has gone over 2,000 yards and has, 20-plus touchdowns.
Obviously, I think Devontae is in the ballpark.
Devontae ain't never had 165, 70 catches in a season.
If you want to stat me, you can't. You can't even compare.
That's what you're doing to me.
Okay, but in a vacuum, in your head, who's better, Cooper Kupp or Odell Beckham Jr.? Who's the better receiver?
In a vacuum right now, who had the better season, Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp? So if I'm just taking in a vacuum this year, Cooper Kupp is better than Devontae Adams.
Okay, that's just statistically.
Okay.
What if I bring in somebody from Mars and I say, let's go to a combine tomorrow afternoon and let's do a combine. Let's run them routes. Let's throw them balls.
Yeah.
Let's test them in the 40.
We've done that.
Who do you think the Martian would pick?
You know what? But here's the thing.
The Martian would take Odell in a heartbeat.
Based on Odell playing in the SEC, Odell going to the combine and performing well, Odell was a first-round pick. Cooper Kupp did well. He was a third-round pick out of Eastern Washington. So it shows that teams thought a lot of him, that he went in the third round. But we're talking about this now. I'm not going to let you change it because Odell got 11 targets. He caught 9 for $113. You was like, well, why Odell? Oh, Higbee, Van Jefferson. Neither one of those guys are Odell. They can't see Odell. Everybody knows that. Sean McVay wised up because what happened against Tampa, they were going.
But over the last 8 games, Van Jefferson got more targets than Odell did.
Okay, where's Van Jefferson yesterday? How many targets he got yesterday? He got 5 targets for 2 yards, for 2 catches and 9 yards.
Yep.
Odell, now you flipped it. Odell got 11, and look what he did. Give him the targets, he'll give you the production.
Okay, should you give him more targets then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I believe Cooper Kupp should be the feature receiver.
Really? So he's better than Odell?
Okay, if you want to say, yeah, he's better than Odell.
Okay, who would win a 40-yard dash right now?
It
doesn't matter?
Hold on. No, but
we're talking about wide receivers.
Wide receiver, Skip. See, you want to take everything is not about numbers. Jerry Rice wasn't going to outrun anybody in the 40. He's the greatest receiver. T.O. wasn't going to beat a whole lot but look at the numbers. All I'm saying is this. They gave Odell opportunities. He cashed those opportunities in. He exceeded what you thought he could do because you thought he was done.
No, I didn't think he was done. I think they're daring him to catch footballs, and to his credit, he did. And I told you earlier in the show, I'm happy that he's in the Super Bowl.
Why wouldn't Cleveland dare him to catch football? Why wouldn't Cleveland give him the ball?
They did dare him because he dropped 4th down catches.
He ain't dropped none. I ain't seen him drop none.
Yeah.
All them 3rd down catches.
He's had some
third down
drops.
after 3rd down.
No, he's started coming. He's happy. He's got a house in L.A. He's got a home in Beverly Hills. So he went to where he wanted. He didn't want to go to Cleveland, Ohio.
He got a quarterback. Let's talk about that.
Well, LeBron all year has been tweeting that he's WR1, wide receiver 1. Well, I think LeBron's trying to suggest that he's better than Cooper Kupp.
No, he's not. Look, there are some receivers that could be a number 1 on a different team. Odell Beckham Jr. is a number 1 receiver. He just happens to be on a team with a guy that just had the greatest statistical season when you look at yards, catches, and touchdowns.
The game I watched last night, D'Amico Ryans, the coordinator for the 49ers, just said you can't have Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
If it takes 3 of us, we are not going to give you Cooper Kupp. And he caught 11 balls for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns.
But here's the thing, Skip. I was watching the game last, and that's the thing I love about being in the game. Also, I hate being about the game. But Skip, I was at the game. They did send double coverage to Odell on some plays.
I didn't see any double. Well, I'm watching close, man. I'm watching. Skip, I don't see any double.
Skip, trust me.
I don't think he's been doubled the whole year.
Skip.
I don't see it.
Why would I lie? Skip, why would I lie?
Because you love Odell?
No, that ain't got nothing to do with it.
That's easy. Did he call you last night after the game?
Ain't none of your business. I ain't telling you.
And by the way, didn't LeBron retweet something you tweeted?
I don't know, Skip.
About something about
Skip, I was
where
tired.
your heads are on these people that are dancing?
Oh, yes, he did.
Don't we have this there?
Now
Look at that. How objective is Shannon Sharpe about Odell?
I love this.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I just don't know how you spent all this time, Shannon, making.
Didn't you tweet that?
I did.
But you retweeted somebody who sent it. You didn't make that, did
No,
you?
I didn't make that.
Okay.
I got a team.
You got a team that made it? I think you got followers.
I got a team. I got a team. No, I got people. I pay people to do stuff like that for me, Skip.
Well, LeBron retweeted that,
He
so
did.
LeBron's co-signing
Good looking at it. Good looking at it, nephew.
I know.
But Skip, all I'm saying is, Skip, is that a guy like OBJ, and you hit the nail on the head, give him the ball early. Any number 1 receiver, if you give him the ball early.
Especially Odell. You just got to get his head in the game.
Anybody.
Yeah.
What the teams try to do to T.O.? They try to take him away early, and then you frustrate him.
Okay.
Same thing with Randy. Any receiver, Jerry, you got to get him the ball
Well,
early.
you know how they used to frustrate Odell in New York?
Yeah.
They got physical with him.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Ward tried to get physical last night, and it cost him 15 yards.
The man laid on the ground, and Jimmy Ward go ahead.
Hit him in the head.
I can see if the guy was standing with a chance. There's a chance.
And to Odell's credit, didn't knock him out of the game psychologically, right?
But Odell that dude.
Yeah.
And you starting to see he that dude. Now,
I think Cooper Kupp is that dude.
Skip, we know that.
Yeah.
The man is unanimous first team All-Pro. We know what he did. But don't sleep on Dale. Don't sleep on OBJ.
Yeah.
I think the combo was pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals had to crawl out of a 21-3 hole before coming back to upset Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in overtime. Burrow threw for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and he became the first number 1 overall pick to go to a Super Bowl in his first 2 years in the league. Crazy. Shannon, did this game show that Burrow is closer to Patrick Mahomes than you thought he was last week?
No, I think the thing was for me is that Mahomes had a really bad second half, and it wasn't like Joe Burrow did what he did, Skip. The first time they played, what he threw for 446, coming off a week in which he threw for 525. We know what he's capable of doing. He's the number 1 overall pick for a reason. But Mahomes had a real bad second half. Skip, in his previous 7.5 games before the second half, Mahomes had 23 touchdowns with 2 picks. So now in his postseason career, basically he's at home, he's 26-4, which is, you love to have someone with 26. I just think the thing, and it didn't make second half adjustments. But I will give Joe Burrow this. He's poised beyond his years. He's as tough. I've never seen a quarterback like him. You're not going to pound a quarterback, the punishment that he took, and still standing. And was willing to stand down the gun barrel again after again after again and look down the field, and he never, ever flinched. I can honestly say there's not very many quarterbacks in the history of the game that's ever been able to withstand that kind of punishment and says, okay, yeah, give me another one, and I'll have another one, and I'll take another one. Skip, but everybody want to discount Mahomes and what he's done because of his weapons. And I will give you credit. Tyreek is outstanding. Kelce is unbelievable. But don't make it seem like Jamar Chase is the 5th pick in the draft. T. Higgins was the 1st pick in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd was a 2nd-round pick.
Yep.
Joe Mixon, had he not had the off-field incidents, he would have been a 1st-round pick.
I was telling you that because I watched every snap he took at the University of Oklahoma, and I said, I'm not trying to defend off the field, but on the field, hey.
Can run it, can catch
he
it.
can play.
And Samaje Perine was a 4th-round pick of the Washington football team.
Thank you.
So our 5th, from talent base, his talent is equal to Patrick Mahomes. Now, his tight end isn't, but if you look at collectively, Skip, the wide receivers, the running back is on par with Patrick Mahomes. The only thing is, Skip, and the one point I want to make before I turn over to you, we've seen Patrick Mahomes do this for 4 years. Basically, we've seen Joe Burrow. He's had an outstanding. Now, he can replicate what Mahomes done by going to winning a Super Bowl, and I believe if they win, he'll be the Super Bowl MVP. But we've seen 4 years body of work with Mahomes. We've only seen basically a year and 5 games. So basically 22, 23 games from Joe Burrow. He's well on his way. But if you give me a choice, say, okay, Shannon, you can take one or the other. I'm still sticking with Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. But you told me Friday it's not even close. And I think you just amended not even close.
Skip, I mean, let me ask you a question. When you're watching the first half, did you think Joe Burrow was close to Patrick Mahomes watching the first half?
I did.
Okay.
I certainly did.
And now I got to get me a new TV.
Yeah.
Damn. I just bought 5, 6 new TVs like 2, 3 years ago. Now I got to get new ones. Okay.
It's just as I told you about Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. I believe that Tom Brady consistently plays quarterback better than Aaron Rodgers. He can't throw it or spin it the way Aaron can in a vacuum from throw to throw. Aaron's got arm talent that Brady never dreamed of. But Tom Brady has a better than average arm, and to me, a consistently much more accurate arm. To me, a more catchable football, especially in big game, big moments, than Aaron Rodgers. And that Aaron Rodgers consistently just falls apart in huge playoff games. And I believe we've seen back-to-back big games against Brady in the Super Bowl against a defense that had gotten hot, obviously in Tampa Bay. And you said you blamed it on the offensive line.
Right.
Well, it was ramshackle. It was just thrown together. It was patchwork. It was they couldn't protect him, right?
But he didn't face that kind of pressure yesterday, Skip. There was no excuse for what happened in the second half. That was not that kind of pressure he faced in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, he was 26 of 49, which is barely above 50% for 270, no touchdowns and 2 picks at a QBR of 42. Yesterday, he had a hot first half, sensational first half, had a QBR of 98 in the first half, and followed it with the QBR in the second half of 1.4. So he wound up with 3 touchdowns, sensational touchdowns in the first half, and 2 picks in the second half. 2 was one. One was in overtime. Okay, so you had 2 picks in the second half and overtime. And that totaled a QBR of 41. So a 42 in the Super Bowl, a 41 yesterday. Big game busts where he got exposed to me in both big games where I don't love his poise under fire unless they're front running. And it can, with Patrick, it can come from either ahead or behind. If we had Tennessee at home in the playoff game where they fell, was it 20?
No, that was the Houston Texans. They fell behind 24-0.
The Houston Texans, but they also fell behind
10-0.
Okay, to Tennessee.
Yeah.
But the Texans with Deshaun at quarterback was 24-0. Okay. So they roared back. But once they catch fire and they get front running on you, Patrick's sensational.
Right.
But if you push and shove him back into a corner and all of a sudden the game tightens around him, I thought his throat started tightening both in the Super Bowl and in yesterday's game. So to me, Joe Burrow is much closer to Patrick Mahomes than you give him credit for because of leadership and poise under fire. To your point, he got sacked 9 times at Tennessee against the 1 seed, and he just kept getting up and saying, hit me again.
Yeah.
And he kept throwing it in their face, and he didn't get happy feet.
No,
and he didn't lose his poise.
No.
And he didn't lose his place. He just kept finding open receivers until to the bitter end, he found Jamar Chase with the throw of the game after Tannehill had predictably thrown a big pick, and he won the game with the throw to Jamar Chase.
The biggest thing about Brady is the consistency. And you heard Patrick Mahomes speak about it. That's why you take your hat off to him. Because in these moments, more times than not, he's found ways to win those games. Getting in the Super Bowl 10 times, winning it 7 times. We understand how hard it is to get there. But Patrick Mahomes has been a model of consistency. 4 straight AFC championship games. I
wouldn't go model of consistency. He was graded 13th in the league this year by Pro Football Focus.
So how many quarterbacks in the history of the game have gotten to 4 straight championship games?
Well, it's very good.
So that's consistent. So the hardest thing to do is
model of getting to championship game consistency.
But that's what I'm saying. That's consistent. Let me ask you a question. What would you do for your Cowboys just to get to that game?
I don't care about the Cowboys right now. We're about to talk about them, but I don't care about their ability to do anything. I just don't.
You don't care?
We're talking about Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes.
But I'm scared. Joe Burrow has been to 1. You do realize Patrick Mahomes, in his second year starting, just like Joe Burrow, was a regular season MVP and a Super Bowl MVP, threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Did Joe Burrow, hold on, and here's the games. He scored 26, 19, and 27. His QBR was 63, 28, and 55. Is that blowing your way? Go back and look at Patrick Mahomes' QBRs in those games and see what his was.
First full year of starting, Joe Burrow ranked number one, was graded number one by Pro Football Focus, and then they switched it. This week they have Brady at number one, and I'm not sure what happened, but the Burrow was number one much of the last 6 weeks.
I think they're still counting.
They're still counting. Okay,
but let me ask you a question.
This was only for the regular season.
Guess who was number one his second year?
Okay, but who led the NFL this year in completion percentage at 70% was Joe Burrow.
Guess who was Guess who in second year? Guess who was graded by Pro Football Focus the number one quarterback?
He was.
Okay,
I'll give you that. But to my eye test, I've told you, I like the way Joe Burrow plays quarterback, and it will get you places much more consistently than Patrick Mahomes, who's too much behind the back, between the legs, left-handed, no look.
Okay.
It's all that sis boom ba that will also get you beaten at certain points because it's not consistent enough. And Andy Reid has let him get away with it because it made Andy Reid look like more of an offensive genius.
You say the man is not consistent. The man is 50 and 13. In 4 years of starting. What you call him has already lost. Joe Burrow has lost 13 games in 2 years of starting.
But he went to the worst team in the league. And then he had his ACL torn, right?
50 and 12 is 50 and 12, right?
Okay, all right. But for the long term, this is just me, and I'm on the record. I already told you this last week. If you made me pick a quarterback for the next 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, I'll go Burrow over Patrick Mahomes, and I'll win more games and more Super Bowls.
Okay. Well, you know, he's in the Super Bowl, so he gets an opportunity to replicate what he did his second year starting.
And once again, he's an underdog. He's got to play the Rams in their house. Yeah. Right? So here we go.
Well, I don't really know if that's like a home field. The truth is the home field advantage that everybody else would get. If you was playing this game in Denver was in the Super Bowl or somewhere else, the Rams don't have a home field advantage.
Last night it might as well have been in San Francisco, right?
I was there. 65-70% of the fans. Wow. I saw more 49ers jerseys than I saw Rams jerseys.
Well, it didn't work, so it doesn't matter about that
exactly.
anymore. It doesn't matter. No mercy. In a recent interview, Jerry Jones said that he's excited for Dan Quinn to be with the team, quote, for years to come, and added that he believes the defensive coordinator turned down a head coaching opportunity elsewhere to sign an extension with the Cowboys. Jerry also implied that the reason he didn't give Mike McCarthy a full vote of confidence after Dallas' season-ending loss was part of the negotiating ploys between Dan Quinn and his many suitors. Jerry just revealed a lot there. Shannon, are you buying what Jerry is selling?
Hell no, not even $2 for $1.
Thank you.
Skip. So you mean to tell me if the Broncos says, Dan Quinn, we want to name you our head coach, he's going to turn that down and says, no, I want to go back and be the head coach. I want to be the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. If the Chicago Bears, who they gave the job to, I think, Matt Eberflus, if they said, you know what, Dan Quinn, we want you to be our head coach, he's going to say, nah, I want to go back and be the DC. Come on, Jerry. And you said, well, the reason why I didn't give him a vote of confidence because that was a negotiating ploy with Dan Quinn. So what did the other teams? They don't give a damn about you not giving Mike McCarthy a vote of confidence. They're going about their business. They evaluate their team not based on what you're doing, Jerry. See, Jerry is always trying to say, that's a Jerry. Everybody wants to be coach the Cowboys. Everybody wants to play for the Cowboys. Skip, Jerry know good and damn well if the Broncos or the Bears or if any of these other teams other than Jacksonville had offered Dan Quinn the job, Dan Quinn would have been gone. And I believe he went to Dan Quinn and said, look, I'll give you an extension, sweeten the pot a little bit if you come back. Well, he wasn't going to get the job. He didn't get the job in Denver. He didn't get the job in Chicago. It doesn't look like he was going to get the job because it seems like they want Jim Harbaugh. He's not going to get the Minnesota. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now what?
Giants went to,
seemed like they wanted the offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll. Mm-hmm. So now Miami, seemed like Miami's going in a different, all the arrows were pointing, we're going away from Dan Quinn.
And by the way, he interviewed with all of the above.
All the teams above. Mm-hmm. So let me see. Maybe Dan Quinn was smart enough to say, you know what? Hey, Jerry, I turned out all the rest of I'll say I'm removing my name from the equation if you going to get, maybe he snookered the snooker. Maybe he swindled the swindler, Skip.
Well, did he? How?
Here's the thing, Skip. I ain't got no option to go be a head coach. Jerry, give me a little bit more money. I'll sign an extension to come back to be the DC. He ain't got no place to go. Skip, he's already under contract. He got no job outside. Well, I might as well go ahead and get me another year extension with a little bit more money. But you and I both know, Jerry Jones, he didn't come back to be no DC because he turned down head coaching jobs. He didn't get the jobs, so you might as well come back. And if I can get an extension with more money, I'll accept that. Jerry need to stop this. Jerry, stop trying to sell the Cowboys. See, that's your problem. You trying to sell a product, but let the product sell itself by going to championship games and Super Bowl. You ought to be ashamed of your owner. You should be. And you cheer, you root for them. You're a diehard Cowboy fan, too.
I can't help it. But I chose them before there was such a thing as Gerald Wayne Jones Jr. That hick from the sticks up in Arkansas, that interloper, that Beverly hillbilly, right? He's ruined my life. I still love him. I still get a kick out of him. He still entertains me on a daily basis, but he also makes my head hurt and my stomach ache. And it is hurting and aching as we speak. Because I'm here to remind you, Jerry called in on Friday. This wasn't his usual gig.
Right.
Called the flagship radio station, the Cowboys flagship in Dallas, to say, I have a statement to make. And here he went. And the first statement was the idea of Mike McCarthy twisting in the wind wasn't the case at all. Okay, so what Jerry is saying is that because it was so sensitive that he feared he was going to lose Mike McCarthy as a head coach to another team, that he had to bamboozle everyone, this is what I'm reading between the lines, to make them think that Mike McCarthy was on the hottest of hot seats, and because he didn't bless him, he gave him no public vote of confidence. Right. He just said, I'm surprised and sick after the game. And then he did let him twist in the wind, that Jerry let that happen to mislead other teams into thinking that Dan Quinn was going to be elevated to head coach of my Dallas Cowboys, which would have made me very happy. But he's saying, no, I bamboozled everybody. And in effect, from what you're saying, you screwed Dan Quinn. If that's true, which it's hard for me to believe.
Exactly.
But he's saying that, in effect, he screwed Dan Quinn because he sent the message to everybody who was on the verge of hiring him that, he's going to be the Cowboy coach, the head coach.
Right.
Well,
so why would they give a damn, Skip? If I want Dan Quinn, I don't want him to be the Cowboys head coach. So I'm going to try to hire him for me.
Well, Jerry's suggesting they all cooled on Dan Quinn because they thought he was in line to become the next Mike McCarthy. Right? Well, that's what he's saying here. I'm not buying it.
Exactly.
It's the biggest bunch of phony baloney I've ever had in the middle of the table here. It's a pile high.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
Well, and yet he's saying that Dan Quinn gladly turned down a head coaching offer. He's saying he had one offer. I have no idea what he's talking about. It could be Chicago. It could be Denver. I don't know. That he gladly turned down one offer to come home to Dallas and sign a longer term. He had a contract through 23 already.
Right.
And that he's now going to be the defensive coordinator, says Jerry, for years to come. So we're to think that Dan Quinn, who was a head coach in Atlanta, and at the highest level, he got a team to up 28-3 on Belichick and Brady in the Super Bowl. 28-3, and we know the rest of the story, but that's pretty great to get you that far, right?
Right.
And so you're telling me, I don't want to be a head coach anymore. I don't care. I want to be the defensive coordinator for you, Jerry, under Mike. Please drop the Mike McCarthy.
Skip,
really?
What do we know? Most bosses, once you become your boss, you want to be a boss.
Stop.
You don't want working for somebody else.
You don't want to do this.
A lot of guys don't even won't even accept a coordinator's role, Skip.
No.
Once they become a head coach.
No.
Why would I've been a head coach and now you want me to serve up under somebody else? Skip, you see Rex Ryan say, no, I'm good. Either you make me the head coach or I'm going to sit up here and talk on TV. Or Brian Billick, now he's going back to help Herman with his Arizona State. Yeah. But there are a lot of guys, Skip, once you become a head...
Bill Cowher said, okay.
Bill Cowher, a lot of guys, Skip, once you become a head coach, it's hard for you to go back.
Absolutely.
And if you do it, you go back with the hope and aspirations that I'm going to be a head coach again. Not just be a lifetime assistant.
And listen, Dan Quinn knows what was going on last year because he knows how to run a football team. And he knows they just came out flat and fell on their face.
Yes.
Remember, against Denver and then the Raiders and then Arizona and then San Francisco. These are 4 home games. They came out listless, uninspired, lifeless, deadheaded, and fell on their face. And I thought it was fireable offenses on Mike McCarthy, whose team led the league in penalties. And at the very least, do you think he promised Dan Quinn, this is what I suggested the other day, he promised him, well, if it goes south early next year, you're going to be my man. But you can't get that in writing from Jerry Jones, and I would not trust it.
No, so what happens, Skip? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you guys go 11-5, 12-4, and you win the division again. So where does Dan Quinn? I tell you what, we know every year coach is going to get fired. Let another job come open. And they offer Dan Quinn the job. I want to see Dan Quinn. Now, we do know one thing. Josh McDaniels actually turned down the job at Indy. He had the job and resigned the job via fax, went back. Bill Belichick did the exact same thing with the Jets.
He did.
Resigned the job.
It became public.
It became public. I want to hear or see Dan Quinn actually turn down the job. I don't want to do it because I don't trust Jerry. I don't trust Jerry.
And then Jerry tacks on the fact that Kellen Moore is probably not going to get a job because he's interviewed.
Yeah, because you undermined him.
Yeah. and now he's saying publicly, you know what, I'm going to let Mike do some of the play calling next year. And again, that'd be music to my ears because I thought once upon a time Mike could call plays in Green Bay and he doesn't call any plays.
But Kellen Moore is finding out that Jerry's very wishy-washy when the things are going well. He's on your side, and when he's not. So the first chance he gets to get a good college coaching, head coaching job, he going to be up out the door because he's like, I can't deal with Jerry.
Well, he had a shot to go back to his
I bet he wish he had taken it now.
Oh, you think he's thinking about that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, boy, the Cowboys always giving us something to talk about, even if their season is done for now.
No mercy.
Yesterday's 20-17 win over the Niners, Matthew Stafford showed just why the Rams acquired him this offseason. The veteran QB threw for 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, and is off to his first career Super Bowl. You could feel the emotion after that one, too. Shannon, please give Stafford a letter grade for us.
Skip, I gave him an A- because I would have given him an A+ had he not thrown that terrible interception on the opening drive because there was no need for him to force that ball into Cooper Kupp. It got popped up in the air, got an interception, and they were very fortunate in that situation. But he did lead a double-digit fourth-quarter comeback. Now, I know somebody that when somebody else did this against the Legion of Boom, he talked about, he threw for this many yards in the fourth quarter.
124 did Tom Brady.
I'm glad you mentioned that because Matthew Stafford was 11 of 14 for 121 and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Is that good? Led a 97-yard drive, the first touchdown of the game, and he showed you why they gave up what they gave up to get him, Skip. We've done this a lot. What's the steepest price that you're willing to go to get a franchise-altering quarterback? Is it 2 first-rounders, 3 first-rounders? Well, there's probably not a price steep enough. 2, 3 first-rounders is not too steep of a price if you get a guy that's going to change the dynamic, that's going to totally change the direction in which your franchise can go in. And that's what he would have done. Skip, you do realize Sean McVay had never had a game in which he had won, in which he had trailed by 10 points going into the fourth quarter.
0-14 in his time with the Rams.
Let that sink in for a second. The boy won the Wiz Kid, whatever you want to call him. Down by 10, headed to the fourth quarter, he was an over.
Front runner.
Matthew Stafford said, I got you. When they were sitting on the beat, I think they were in Cancun, Cabo, Ochos Rios, Tulum, wherever they were, drinking Mai Tais. As a matter of fact, I was sitting right next to his wife, Kelly, and they were in the Jordan suite.
Well, they were in the adjoining. You weren't sitting right next to her.
No. But I was talking to Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones' wife and Matthew Stafford's wife are very good friends. So he and I was talking, conversing about the game, what we see, how he saw it, what I'm seeing. And
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Skip, he's special. This is why you did that, Skip. I mean, in the fourth quarter, he's thrown 14 touchdowns this year in the fourth quarter. That's what he is.
Now it was Cabo hot tub.
Yeah,
that's where they made the deal.
I don't get all that hot all day. I mean, how you get in the hot tub with somebody you don't know?
I don't know.
That's their thing. I'm letting them.
But it worked. A deal got made in the hot tub. That's what they said.
Made.
Okay.
But Skip, he was special. I gave him an A-. He would have gotten an A+ had he not thrown that horrible interception. But outside of that, he played really well. And you know, Skip, sometimes in games like this, you have to catch a break. Drop the interception. Eli caught a break. Asante Samuel had the game in his hands, and he dropped it. And we know what happened in that situation. So sometimes it happens. Against Atlanta, when Tom Brady came back against Atlanta, remember the ball? Al Alford had the ball in his hand, caromed up, Edelman catches it, they go on and tie the game up.
Okay, I'm going to restate my position on one Matthew Stafford from Dallas, Texas, Highland Park via University of Georgia. When he hit the big leagues, the NFL, he took it by storm.
Yes.
Just on aura. Because all the best looked at that and said, that's the best arm talent in the league. It's arm talent that is beyond Aaron Rodgers. It's beyond Patrick Mahomes. Because even the great Bruce Arians said, one guy I go watch warm up, I go out early to watch the other quarterback warm up, is Matthew Stafford, because he can flat spin the football.
Can spin it. He can.
What I told you from the start is I don't trust his big game backbone, his football backbone. There's something in there. He's got that haywire gene going on where he can go haywire. He can unravel on you when you least expect it. And I told you down the stretch of the regular season over the last 8 games when Odell joined, and I'm not blaming this all on Odell, but Matt Stafford led the league in interceptions over those 8 games. 4 times in the regular season, he threw pick sixes, which is pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
But the point is that last night he was who I thought he was, or if you want to say wasn't, because right away in that first drive, if we could see the throw at the goal line that made you give him an A-.
Yes.
He throws it behind Cooper Kupp when they can just establish a beachhead right here. This is where you take over the football game, and he's late to Cooper Kupp, and behind him, and the ball gets popped up in the air, and Jimmy Ward, I thought he was about to break it for a 104-yard return. But the point was, that set them back on their ear. That showed San Francisco, wait a second, we got this now. Even with Jimmy G, we got this.
Right.
And they scratch and claw and fight all the way up to a 17-7 lead. And then, to your point, they did roar back in the fourth quarter, and they finally won a game coming from behind for Coach McYay, the boy wonder. But what happened with, as you said, 9:55 left in the fourth quarter? Could we see the throw up the middle? I have no idea. This is 1st and 10 from the 15, and he just wings it to nobody. It's a pass and a prayer. I think he split the difference between Odell and Van Jefferson. He just said, I'll just throw it between them, and maybe one of them will catch it. But he threw it right to Tart, who, number 3 for them, unlike Odell. Odell didn't drop any balls, but Tart cold dropped this interception. I don't know what he was doing. It hit him right in the hands. He said after the game, I thought I had it all the way in. Did he look off at the last second? Was he thinking I can run with this for a ways? Did he close his hands too fast? I don't know what inflicted him at that point. But he said after the game.
Nothing inflicted him. Okay, he just dropped it. He's DB.
Okay, well, something got him because he dropped the Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers. And I think you agree with that. I think the momentum wildly shifts at that point because he would have caught the ball about the 35, and who knows if he returns it 10 yards, 15, 20 yards.
Maybe they're looking at the Rams like, okay, we threw it down here. Maybe we look at it as a long punt because it wasn't like the 49ers did anything with that possession. At that point in time, you said Jimmy G had reverted back to being Jimmy Gag.
It was Jimmy Gag by that point because they could not run the football.
Exactly.
Okay, so Matt Stafford to me deserves a B because he threw it to them. That was vintage Matt Stafford. That's exactly what I thought would happen. And Tart could not put it away. And he said after the game, blame it on me. Right. I let my teammates down, but I don't want this to define me for the rest of my career.
Skip, you know how it is in ball games. You've seen ball games where a defender has the opportunity.
Like Marcus Williams for New Orleans in the Minneapolis Miracle game, at the Minnesota Miracle.
So it happens.
It happens.
But can you take advantage of it?
Yep.
If Jared Goff is in that situation, Skip, they're not winning that game with Jared Goff. You know that, you might not think Matthew Stafford is the guy.
Well, they got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
Yeah,
he was pretty good at New Orleans. Was he not? Do you remember?
He was better than Matthew Stafford was at Tampa.
I once saw
was he better than Matthew Stafford at Tampa against you said the GOAT? He took down the GOAT in his own building. How you go to a man
didn't
past
take down the GOAT.
Yes, he did.
The GOAT can't play safety.
No,
he
can't. What about them throws? What about them throws?
He threw it up for grabs to a guy who was the decoy on the play. Oh, great. Way to go, Matthew.
Still running over.
Okay, we still got one more game to go, and it's at home, and the pressure mounts on Matthew Stafford.
Whoa, hold on. Is your guy going to be in the game? Is your team going to be in the game? So why we?
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow.
No, now you like Joe Burrow. Okay,
the
so
next Tom Brady.
Better than Tom Brady, better than Cowboys.
Listen to what Jimmy's saying.
And now you the Bengals. Now you on the Bengals.
No mercy.
LeBron missed both of the Lakers' losses this weekend due to swelling in his knee, and the team even sent him home early from their road trip to get an MRI. So, Shannon, how concerned are you about LeBron's knee?
I'm not overly concerned, Skip. It's only been 4 days. It just so happens it was 3 games in 4 days. He is 37. He's been playing a lot. He's been putting foots in people. So to let that's what happened to it. But he'll be all right. Got something for you this weekend.
Has he ever had any knee soreness before that I know of? Nope. Knees have always been 1,000% good, right?
They're still good.
And suddenly we're told that he just woke up on Thursday morning and they just ached and then they swelled. Swelling, not a good sign, as you well know.
He'll be all right.
Will he?
A little ice, a little treatment.
Well, I'm here to suggest that he ought to lose about 10 to 15
there
pounds.
You go,
well, is he not a little heavy?
No.
He looks heavy to me.
He looks fine to me.
You can't. He's played the 4th highest average minutes per game in the league. You can't be that heavy and play that much.
I'm thinking about we might play Wednesday against Portland.
Really?
Or we definitely playing against the Knicks.
All right, Skip Shannon, we got a lot more to discuss tomorrow. Undisputed back at the same time. The Herd is next. Have a good one.